And we are recording. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Tiffany, thank you for those tips about the tripod. But now we are going to hear about host coaching for the here and now with Linda McGuire. She started her journey when she was a young newlywed who didn't know how to cook, and all she wanted to accomplish was getting some Pampered Chef products at a discount. Being a military spouse, she has moved her business many times. She's earned excellence awards for many years and has also earned over 20 free trips for her and her family. Now, 25 years later and a newly promoted executive director, she says it is never too late to be great. She went from a stable team with one director in July 2019 to a strong growing organization with 19 directors now. Systems is what changed her business. Today, she will share the first basic system that she started, which began this amazing transition. Take it away, Linda.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, I'm just going to tell Laura Ann to call, Tiffany, all of my directors on my organization. If you really just want to go outside, this is all going to be old news for you, because this is what we do in our team. Now, if you are on my team and you're not currently doing this system the way that we have been teaching, you want to stay on. So thank you guys so much for asking me to join. And I'm pretty transparent, and I'm just going to be really honest with you in telling you that this journey with Pampered Chef over 25 years has been, it's been a roller coaster. And you guys are right now feeling the effect of a roller coaster, because you literally took off on the roller coaster at Walt Disney World that just literally goes pew. And for April, May, and June, your business was booming. And now you're at the bottom looking up going, I want to be up at the top of the roller coaster again. But what does that really have to do with what I'm going to talk about today? Well, you know, we all have ups and downs in our businesses. And for me, the journey has truly been an amazing ride. A ride like I never, ever dreamed I would have. However, for probably 23 years, in my heart, I was begging for a system. And I didn't even know where to start. And I'm going to share with you a few things about how do you find a system that works for you, and watching how we developed a system for the McGuire organization. Now, I am a PowerPoint girl, thanks to my first stable director. When I just introduced that in July, I had one director, and she and I started working so closely together on this system. So I can't take the credit for it, but Sam Thomas and my mastermind group, they are amazing. We've all done this together, but it had to start somewhere. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation just to keep me on track, and then I will share my actual system that I use. So Jen, I'm going to need you to give me a screen sharing ability, please, ma'am.
I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay, while you're figuring it out, I'll just talk.
There you go. I think you're good.
You got it? Okay. Awesome. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had this ready. That was Prague. Hey, that's where us executive directors are going. Super excited about that. Okay, so can everybody see my slideshow?
I'm seeing it.
Awesome. Okay. So using systems. This was me in January 2019. And I want you to look at all of those words right now. Confused, intimidated, stupid. I wanted a vision. I was frustrated. I was overwhelmed. I felt like it was impossible. I felt like I had a fog. I was in a fog. But more than anything, I felt paralyzed. I felt absolutely paralyzed that I didn't know how to create a system. And that is not a lie. I am a really good cooking consultant. I feel like I'm a pretty okay trainer. But when it came to developing a system, it was not my gift and it was not my strength. And I started seeing consultant after consultant become director after director, then advanced, and then senior, and then executive. And then these people were making levels like I had never seen in this business. And I thought, why not me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I be as successful as these other amazing consultants? And it all boiled down to a system. I didn't have a system, and I didn't know how to make one. So because we are in this amazing company, I got a system from a gentleman by the name of Stephen Dobrowski. So I have to give credit where credit is due. And one day he did a Zoom meeting, which is why you should always go back and watch replays. When people post a replay and say this is worth watching, don't believe them. You need to go watch it. It truly changed my life. So I watched this video of this guy who had literally been selling for 19 months. And he was already an executive director. I think it was that long, maybe 2 years. I don't know. I don't remember all the dates. But he had a system, and he had something I did not have, and I needed it. And he shared the skeleton, and I want to reiterate that. He shared the skeleton of his system. And then me and Sam began to put the meat on the system, on the skeleton. We had a structure in place of why he was so successful. So you might be wondering, how did these people become so darn successful? It's because they had a system, and then they taught that system to someone else on their team. And then they were able to teach that system to someone else on their team. And then they were able to teach someone else. So it's not really truly about you being a great trainer. You can become a great trainer if you have the tools in place. But we didn't have that tool in the McGuire organization. We kind of just muddled through, and we tried to do virtual parties, and I would try every kind of virtual party there was. And you can ask Tanya Cole. I would beg, oh my God, you're doing these 1 hours. I love them, but I still want to do my cooking shows, and they take the night of my cooking shows. And I tried the 5-day parties, and they were taking too long, and I didn't like them. And it was pushback, 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 pushback. It wasn't about the party. It was about the system I didn't have. They had a system and I did not. So what did I do? Well, when you don't know how to do something, you go seek out that help from somebody that does. And this company is absolutely incredible about sharing. And he shared his system with everybody that watched it. I mean, you got it. It floated around Director Success. It floated around virtual parties. I mean, it floated around everywhere. But if you didn't make it your own and you didn't begin to implement it, it was just set on a Word document. So let's first start out and find out, well, what is this stupid system? What is a system? A system is a simple routine to accomplish a task. Simple things like driving to work. You drive probably the same way to work every day, unless you live in Northern Virginia, and then you have to check Google Maps first before you leave home because you may be driving a different direction, but your system is still the same. You're paying your bills. Do you pay your bills online? Do you pay them with checks? Do you do it on the same day of every month? That may be your system. Baking a cake, that's a system. If you don't do the system correctly, then you don't have a really good cake. So systems are not new, but if you can't create the recipe for the cake, then you go find somebody that can. if you don't really know the proper way to drive to work in the morning to miss the most traffic, you go to a system like Google Maps that can. So there is not one perfect system that fits everybody. So as I begin to dive into this, I want you to understand this is my system that I had other amazing directors help me to create, and then we began to implement it. But I can guarantee you that so many people in my organization use this system, but they tweak it daily because they want to make it their own. So the first thing you have to do is, how do you create a system? Well, you got to identify the areas that are not working for you and ways to improve your output. So just think about my simple system of host coaching. I didn't know, so it's E right here, right? My virtual parties were terrible, and that was mainly because of my host coaching. Recruiting, new consultant onboarding, developing leaders, getting bookings, host coaching, system for virtual parties. These are all systems that when you put them into place and you have a document that you can follow, it just becomes human nature. You know exactly what to do. I very rarely have to look at my host coaching system anymore because I know what I do on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, because it's the same system over and over and over again. Ask yourself, in a perfect world, what would you like your results to be? Okay, so let's just take our host coaching system, which is what we're going to be working on today. What would you like your results of that to be? Well, you would like a very engaged host, right? You heard Virginia talking about how our system really focuses on engaging your host. Well, that's host coaching, you guys, totally host coaching. What would you want your system to produce? A solid, amazing party for your host. Then make a list of everything you could possibly do or talk about with top leaders who are successful in the system you are wanting to develop. And that's exactly what we did. I already mentioned it before. We got the skeleton from Stephen Dabrowski. We saw different host coaching systems from other upper level directors that were doing this and having amazing results. And then I brought top leaders that are great friends of mine, and we came together and we developed our system. So decide which of those things, based on your personality, priorities, times, are you able to do and you are willing to do. You cannot make a system that you're not willing to do, which is why if you're going to use my host coaching system, if you're not willing to follow the system, then maybe you need to tweak it and make it your own. If you don't like the wording, then make it your own. Well, you should be making it your own anyway, but you know, copying and pasting is okay, but it's got to be authentic. And then put it all together and define the list, implement, and then commit to the system. And if I can't tell you, oh my gosh, commit to the system. That is the most important part. Don't just try it once and say it didn't work. Maybe you had a host that wasn't working well with you. Maybe you had a host that was not engaged. Maybe you weren't really following the system. You've got to commit to the system. All right. So what systems do you need right now? So I want you to put in the chat, because there are, the last time I looked, something like 78, 80 people on this call. They might have dropped off when they heard I was coming on, but 78 to 80 people on this call right now. I want you to write in the chat, what system do you need right now in your business that you feel that one thing, I just need to start off with one. I don't want to see you mentioning recruiting and host coaching and this and this and this, just one, because you can't do it all at one time. We didn't. We started off with host coaching. So which one do you need? All right. So I just want to take a glance at the, oh, are you going to say, Jen? You're going to tell me what it
I was
says?
just going to say the chat is going furious and fast right now.
So what are they mainly saying, Jen?
Onboarding, recruiting, organization, bookings is a big one. Host coaching, recruiting, bookings, work-life pampered chef balance. That is a very important one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Customer follow-up, contact management for customer care.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you see that each one of those topics that you guys just mentioned is a system? And you cannot implement them all at once, but take the one right now that is the most necessary to your business. So in our McGuire organization, we started out with a host coaching system. Now, yes, you do have to have bookings on your calendar to coach a host, right? You can't do any host coaching without bookings, but what you will find is you secure your bookings, you start using the host coaching process, you do it through the entire party, and you will have bookings at the end of that party if you do the host coaching system. You will also have recruits if you do the host coaching system. Okay. All right. Now this is how you get started. So we're going to get started with the host coaching recruiting system. You got to use something that's easily accessible to you. We started out in a Word document. You need something that you can copy and paste and have side by side when you are setting up and running your virtual parties. It can be a Google Doc. It can be an Evernote. The McGuire organization has now moved into our entire host coaching system is in a unit. And I'll be sharing what that looks like in just a few minutes. But whatever you are going to use, you need to make sure that it's easily accessible to you. So we started out, very first thing is putting it on a Word doc. If you use Google or if you use Evernote, that's a great place to use as well. What do you want it to accomplish? Well, we wanted ours to accomplish a daily step-by-step process. And because we are a growing organization, we wanted it to be easy to teach to new consultants. Those were our two biggest things that we wanted to accomplish. Daily step-by-step process for host coaching and an easy to teach to new consultants. Content. What do you need the content to be? Well, you need it to communicate with hosts daily, which is what I was not doing in a regular party. We needed words to say. We needed photos to use daily. So that was our host coaching and recruiting system where we got started. Now, I'm going to unshare my PowerPoint and I'm going to go into what our organization uses and how it has evolved. Okay, so let me exit this and go to this. All right, now, about 2 years ago, if I would have seen anything like this, I would have thrown up. No joke. I would have gone, yep, file it that in the delete bottom, in the delete box. Never, ever, ever would I have looked at I don't even know how, 17-page document. I would have never even given this document a thought because I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't own it. I would look at it and I would go, way too many words. But you guys, this is how we started. This was our baby. And we called it our host coaching system. And I know that some of my early directors that promoted that were using this in October, November, they were like, oh, this document is so big, but it works. Oh, this document is so overwhelming, but it works. Have we improved on it? Of course we have. Have we changed the look of this like 5 times? Yes, we have. But the basic idea is this. I'm just going to scroll through this. I will not share with you 17 pages. We essentially color coded it. The consultant tasks were in yellow. The host coaching tasks were in green. Items needed to communicate with your host. Offering the opportunity was in pink. And building relationships with your guest were in orange. If you'll notice, if my party starts on Friday of next week, this is what I would be doing yesterday or today. And I'm just going to give you a very quick little snippet of what that might look like. Confirm the party. Hi there, Sally. I just wanted to reach out to share how excited I am for your party and remind you that I will be adding you to our group on Facebook this next week. You hear from them. I would love to get on the phone and just take 5 minutes of your time to go over party details. See, there's my plug from Virginia earlier, right? Build that relationship. I am available in this date. Do either of those work for you? Phone is the best way to connect with your host. However, if you can't, have a 5-minute phone call, then at least try to do it through a Facebook message. Okay? Now, this is where you're going to see our first opportunity when we ask about the business. Also, I really just wanted to let you know that if you've ever considered doing something like this, we could transform your party into your first party being the consultant and you making the money. Or alternatively, if after your party you decided you would like to give this a shot, you can actually take up to $50. We've kind of changed this a little bit. This is old. I don't use this anymore, but this is where it started, okay? We even help our consultants to say, if they say yes and seem intrigued, refer to the questions at the bottom or ask your director for assistance. If they say no, then here's what you say to them. So we have set up this system to help our consultants become amazing host coaches. Now, as you get more into the party, so let's say now it's Tuesday and you're ready for them to invite. Now, our system works like this, and not everybody in our organization does this system, and it's a little fluid, right? So we typically like to start up our parties. We start the group on Sunday or Monday. We build it, we invite our host to it, and we say, hey, we're so excited. I've asked you to join your party. Give me a thumbs up when you've joined. And then we send them a little message that says, it's now time to invite your friends. This is by far the most important part of the party. If we don't have enough join, we don't have enough people, anyone playing, and then we don't have orders. So what you're doing is you're coaching your host every single step of the way. Tuesday, you got something to do. Wednesday, you've got something to do. Here we are building the relationships with the guests that are in the party. Be sure to include a welcome picture. Thursday, we're still pre-party. Friday AM, we kick off our party. So we take Tuesday night is when I like to ask my host to invite the very first time, because more people are available in the evening to see their notifications. So I start inviting on Tuesday evening. Tuesday, Wednesday, I give them a different way to invite and follow up. And then Thursday is their reach out to those people who have not joined the party yet that you're really surprised have not joined. And that's my basic host coaching setup to get 50 people in the party for each host. Then what happens after that is the relationship building that you are going to bring to the party, as well as the help that you're going to have your host help you with. All right, so here again, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's all in here with what to do. Now, did I tell you that this document looked incredibly overwhelming? Of course it did. But when you just open up the document and it's Thursday, okay, let me go to Thursday and see what I'm supposed to do today. All right, now let me close out my document. That's literally how you attack this 17-page document. All right, now, how have we evolved since then? We have evolved in McGuire Movers and Shakers, and this is my, my team page, to a unit. And for directors out there, if you want to build your own unit in your organizational page, what we did was our unit 2 is step-by-step host coaching for virtual parties, daily post. And we made every single day, sorry about that, every single day is a separate entity. 1 week before the party, 1 week before the party, step 3. Here's Sunday pre-post. Here's Monday pre-party. Here's Monday and Tuesday. Now they start inviting, right? And then here is another way to invite. And here is welcoming people to the party. And here is Tuesday. They don't have enough people in the party. I mean, and as I said, I do mine on Tuesday evening. This is just a guideline. Please, please, please don't say, well, wait a minute. You said you did this on Monday and Tuesday and blah, blah. It's not about when I do it. It's about just getting it done. You're going to come up with the best days for you to do your own parties, your own cycle. So every single day is just a single day in the party. Okay, so that is how we set it up for our team. Now, the last thing that I'm going to share with you is how do you incorporate recruiting into your virtual parties? I don't know why these little dashes here. It's so weird when people come in or something happens and you get all these little, this is not part of the document, you guys. I don't know what this is from, but it's not part of the document. So when I share it with you, I don't think this is part of the document. Ask your host 5 times. This is your recruiting system. Did you want to have a system for recruiting? This goes hand in hand with your host coaching. Ask your host 5 times. And this is what it will look like. The first ask before the party. I know this probably wasn't on your radar when you signed up to do a party, but did you know that we could easily turn your party into a launch party where you not only earn host rewards, but also real commissions as well? Oop, look, I have a typo in there. Have you ever thought of doing something like Pampered Chef? Don't throw up on them. It's just a simple statement, simple question. Have you ever thought about doing something like Pampered Chef? And that's where she's going to come back and say, no, not at all, not even interested, I'm too busy. Or you might even get, well, as a matter of fact, yes, I have. Tell me more. Second ask, if they said no. Wow, you have a lot of guests already who have joined in on the fun. Something's happening, writing all over my screen here. It's so weird. They all seem to love Pampered Chef. Have you given any more to the thought of doing something like Pampered Chef? I would love to give you all the bookings we get from this party to help you kickstart your own business with a strong start. Not pushy at all, right? Just checking back in. Third ask. Woohoo, your party just hit $300 or $400 in sales. Did you know that you have officially qualified for something called the $25 or $50 kit credit that you can use on any of our new consultant kits? Have you thought any more? Or if this is your first ask, since you weren't asking before, if this is your first ask, you'd say, have you ever thought about doing something like Pampered Chef? Fourth ask, Google survey. Your friends want to host, because I have a mid-party Google survey that asks them, if your host decided to sell Pampered Chef, would you support them and help them by hosting a party? Wow, I am looking at our survey today, and you have blank number of friends who said they would be willing to host a party for you if you decided to do this whole Pampered Chef thing. Have you thought any more about the possibilities that Pampered Chef has to offer? And then the fifth ask at the party close and offer the bookings. I know we have talked a little throughout the party about the potential that Pampered Chef has to offer. I would love to offer you any bookings that came from your party as a way to help you kickstart your business in a strong way. What do you think? Want to give it a shot? Now, if you notice at the bottom, I put, this is not about you. When you are recruiting, it is not about you. It is about what you can do for them. And you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not going to ask somebody 5 times if they keep telling me no. Ask Virginia Hilton how that worked out for her. When Sarah asked, and Sarah asked, and Sarah asked. I have consultants on my team that were my virtual party consultants, Sarah Jobs, that I found her through a survey because she had marked on her survey that she was somewhat interested. If you're not giving opportunities to ask your host to consider the business, they don't know that it's an option. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to get off my soapbox. And let me just think if there was anything else I wanted to cover. So the hardest ask to do in recruiting through your virtual party is the very first one. It truly is. It's the very first one. If you can get over yourself and just ask the question, you will be stunned when you find out who actually has thought about it in the past. Because that's all you're asking. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? You don't know if they have or not, and that's all you're doing is just asking them. Okay? All right, so I have a feeling there are probably quite a few questions. I don't even know what my time is because I moved out of my office so that I would have better light. So
right on time. We have about 5 minutes before
okay.
our break. So I have seen a lot of people asking if you will share that document in the group.
Yes, I will share the document. It will be incredibly overwhelming because it has a lot of information. I want you to keep in mind, this was a training document for our new consultants. So you can take away from it, you can add to it. Please, whatever you do, don't just copy and paste. We have to talk to our new consultants as well. Oh, this is something I definitely wanted to remember to say, and I should have just done what Laura said. And hey, I'm going to say this at the end, remind me to say it. When you are host coaching in those first 4 days, we call this robotic host coaching. And that is if all you are doing is copying and pasting that message to your host and you haven't gone into the party to see exactly how many she invited, you're the Charlie Brown teacher going wah, 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 wah. They're not listening to you. They're not doing what you're asking them to do. So you got to figure out why. And that comes down to the relationship again. Why have they not invited yet? Why have they not even joined their party yet? You know, I mean, there's so many things. You can't go to the next step until they have done what you asked them to do the first time. So maybe they don't even know how to find the invite button. Maybe you need to give them a little bit shorter message so that they can send, 50 individual messages as well. All of that is in that document. But if you're just being robotic and the document is a crutch, it's a worthless document because you're not using your relationship with your host to coach them. That's the key word here. The key word is coaching. You're coaching them to have a really successful party. If you don't coach them and you direct them and they're not doing it, they're going to have the same party. So that was one thing I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand. Don't go forward into Wednesday and Thursday if they still haven't done Tuesday. Okay.
Thank you. Cheryl Harding wants to know, what do you put in your mid-party survey? Is it just the one question or do you have more?
There's a few. If I share my mid-party survey with you, you cannot copy and paste that mid-party survey because I will get all of your results. And I would choose not to get all of your results. So if I share my mid-party survey in the group, please, please, please just utilize the questions that are in there. Don't copy the link for the survey because then you're going to wonder where those survey results are and they're going to be in my Google Docs.
Correct. Does anybody have any other questions? You can either pop them in the chat or you can unmute yourself. We still have a couple of minutes.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't seem to get the party people to fill out the survey.
Who's asking? I can't see.
Tammy.
Tammy Gaskins.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, there is a difference when you are running a virtual party about informing people and inviting people. When you're informing, you're literally just putting the information out there and you're hoping that they read it and understand it. What I have started doing is anytime there is something I really, really, really want my guests to see in the party, I give it to my host. And I let my host post it.
Okay.
I have quit, by the mid party, you're starting to see a little drop off in people, right? So I will take my most engaged picture, which for me, it's take the Pampered Chef Scrabble word and unscramble it and see how many words you can make in it. And I get, oh my gosh, 70, 80, 90 comments on that silly picture. But what that silly picture did, like Virginia said, is it got people back into the party. So I'll throw that puppy in like on Monday when it's kind of starting to wind down. And when it begins to wind down, people are less likely to see. So I'll have my host put that post into the party. And then that night, I will have her put the mid-party survey in. And the mid-party survey does two things. You'll see the questions in there. They ask, would you be at all interested in hosting a party like this yourself? If your host decided to become a consultant, would you be a host for her? And there's some easy ways to answer that question there. But then there's the all-important question in there that says, are you planning on placing an order? And that also is just yet another way to find out who's planning on placing an order. How do you get them to fill it out? Maybe go in live on your virtual party and remind them that it's there. Ask your host to post it, because if you guys understand how Facebook algorithms work, about 50% more people will see the post when your host posts something than when I post it, because they're friends with the host. They're not friends with me, which is why that host coaching system is so important, that your host is posting a picture every single day that you give her. And if you can encourage your host to even go live in the party, if you can encourage your host to share her favorite products, the more that you can host your, the more that you can coach your host to be in the party at all times. And they don't have to be in there all day long, but at least once or twice a day, showing themselves as an active participant in the party. That's the purpose of the host coaching document. It's to teach them how to get people in the party, and it's to teach them how to keep people engaged in the party.
Awesome. Thank you. Last question for now, and then we'll break for lunch. Janice says, what if you have asked your host to invite more or to engage, and she doesn't do any of those?
What if you've asked your host to invite more and to engage? Well, part of that may be because, and I'm just going to assume, I don't know, that they don't know how to. They also assume that they don't have enough friends. So one of the first things that I like to do is I like to go to their profile, and I like to look at how many friends they have on their profile page. That speaks volumes about the accessibility that they have to people. If they have 150 to 200 friends on Facebook, yeah, they're going to struggle. But if they have 700 people and they've invited 50, then there's something that's holding them back from not inviting. They are prejudging, most likely, the people that they think want to be in the party. And so I would use words like, hey, you know what? Maybe let's just consider inviting some people that might shock the pants off of you if they joined. You never know who's thinking, man, I haven't seen Pampered Chef products in 15 years. This would be fun. The problem is they are prejudging, typically, who they want to invite. I have had, I'm not going to lie, I've had hostesses who have said, I will not invite using the invite button. And that's okay. You have to work with them. If you fight them on it, they're going to resist you. So you have to meet them where they are. So what I typically do in that case is I will say to them, hey, I totally understand that this is your party and I want you to help having a successful party. So how about we do this? And then I give them a short little verbiage and I say, send this to 50 people. That is the first 50 people that you can see on your friends list first. And let's see how many people will join. And I give them the link to the Facebook group, and then that's how they join. So they send the verbiage out with the Facebook link, and people have to come in and say, ask to join the party. Then that shows the host what is the better way for them to invite. If they get that first initial 20 out of 50 that they invited, that's a good percentage. Then ask them to send, okay, that worked really well. We're trying to get you up to 50 members. So how about we send that same message out to 25 more, and then go back to those other ones that didn't join and just make sure that they saw it and say, hey, I'm just following up with you to see if you saw it, because not everybody looks at their Facebook Messenger, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Did that help?
I believe so.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay.
It's me.
Awesome. All right, guys, we are going to break now for lunch. We'll be back here in about 30 minutes. I am closing out the Zoom right now, and so my computer can kind of take a break because it's probably going enough already. All right, so we will see everybody back here around 1:45. Okay? Thank you so much, Linda.
Mm-hmm.